What's going on, everybody? Ronan here. Welcome back to What If Ash Caught Latias. This will be the final part of the divergent timeline for him becoming a frontier brain. But before we get into that video today, I'm going to need you to take a look at this analytical stat bar right here. If you notice, 56.9% of you guys that watch my content are not subscribed. So if you could do me a favor and turn on notifications and hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss another upload. Now, before we get into the part, I just want to say one thing. I know at the beginning of the series that I said that this would be a daily thing that was going to happen over the next couple of months. Unfortunately, some personal things got in the way, and I was unable to get things put together in time to make that happen. So this is going to be the only series I'm able to do for you guys. But we're still going to continue with our weekly uploads on Friday morning at 10 a.m. after all this is done. So let's get into it. What has been happening with Ash since the end of the last part? Well, some time has passed. Ash has been in his new role as a frontier brain of the Johto region for about a year to 2 years now. He's actually been quite successful, not really having anybody who was able to topple him as a frontier brain, even coming to be known as the strongest of the brains in the Johto region at least. Until one day, a mysterious trainer happens on his doorstep. This trainer is known as Sawyer, and he is from the Hoenn region, a region that Ash is all too familiar with. The two end up having a battle. In this version, we're going to say that Ash decided to recall Latias for this battle. He had a strange feeling about this kid, and he was right. Sawyer activates something that Ash has never seen before: Mega Evolution. This transforms his starter Pokemon, Sceptile, into Mega Sceptile, allowing the young trainer to take the first win over Ash as a frontier brain that he's had in the last 2 years, which kind of shocks the trainer. He was beginning to think that there wasn't any real challenge left out there for him, but this new Mega Evolution, it's caught his attention. Once their battle's concluded and Ash presents him with his frontier symbol and announces him as the first ever victor of the Johto Battle Frontier, the two sit down and have a conversation. Ash has many questions, wanted to know about this Mega Evolution and its process. What is it? How does it work? Sawyer is all too happy to answer this question. Sawyer explains that Mega Evolution is prominent in 2 regions in the Pokemon world, one of them being Hoenn. It's been popping up over the last couple of years with the reawakening of the legendary Pokemon Kyogre and Groudon. Ash flashes back at this point, remembering that he was there for those. Whatever happened awakened them, and also triggered the activation of all of the Mega Stones around the region to start coming back to life. But that isn't the main focus here. Sawyer tells Ash about a brand new region that also specializes in Mega Evolution. As a matter of fact, it was thought to be the origin of Mega Evolution until some recent discoveries in Hoenn, but that kind of just escapes Ash. He hears new region and Mega Evolution, and he wants to get as much information out of Sawyer as possible. Well, Sawyer actually says that he's heading out there himself to compete in the league. This region is known as Kalos, and they actually have a place that's dedicated to the practice of Mega Evolution, known as the Tower of Mastery. While Ash isn't really interested in competing in leagues anymore, he does find this whole Mega Evolution and Tower of Mastery aspect quite interesting. So it's at this point that Ash, he makes a decision. He's actually going to close down the Battle Shrine for a while. He feels that it's time for him to broaden his horizons a little bit more. There's something else that's happened in the world that he could possibly use to become stronger. Without hesitation, he asks Sawyer if he happened to have any traveling plans. Sawyer says no. His next stop is actually going to be Lumio City in the Kalos region, the largest city in the Pokemon world. Ash then makes the decision that that will be his next stop as well. Sawyer eventually departs from the Battle Shrine, as he has already predetermined flights that he needs to catch. To where Ash, on the other hand, well, he has responsibilities. First things first is to contact the president, Scott. Ash needs to let him know that he's closing the Battle Shrine for the time being. Scott inquires why Ash would like to close the Battle Shrine. Ash tells him it's because of Sawyer, this Mega Evolution. He can't get it out of his head. He feels that it could be the chance at a new level of power, something to make him stronger, because he doesn't want to just cement himself as the strongest frontier brain in the Johto region. He wants to cement himself as the strongest frontier brain in general. Doesn't matter what region. And Mega Evolution will be the next tool to help it. So with that out of the way, Scott gives his blessing to Ash. And after notifying Claire and the Elder of the Dragon Shrine, Ash closes the doors of the Battle Shrine, setting out for this new region known as Kalos. Now, the Pokemon that Ash is going to choose to bring with him here are going to be very, very light, because he also intends to acquire some new team members. But he is going to be bringing Latias and Lucario, as well as his old buddy Pikachu. Lucario, he feels like he needs the most amount of time with. Latias, because he didn't really get a chance to travel with it in the Sinnoh region. And Latias feels like it needs to stretch its wings after being home in Altamira for so long. And well, Pikachu is Pikachu, and wherever Ash is, it's going to be. Now, a few days happen to go by, and we find Ash smack dab in the middle of Lumio City. This is a place unlike anything the boy has ever been. You see, he's been spending a lot of time in the much rural, smaller Johto region. It's very sparsely populated, and this urban setting is something that Ash hasn't experienced in a long time. Not even Goldenrod has something like this. So he's taken in the sights, but he has one stop here. Sawyer had mentioned something, or someone should I say, the professor of the Kalos region and the one who studies Mega Evolution, Professor Sycamore. After getting in all of his sightseeing, Ash stops by the shop to say hi to the professor. The professor knows Ash all too well, because as a frontier brain, Ash's reputation has started to precede him as a strong trainer, and it's come to the point to where he's gotten a little bit on the famous side. So much so that Professor Sycamore is kind of awestruck that a frontier brain would be in his laboratory. But the feeling is mutual, because Ash has never really experienced Mega Evolution before, and this guy is supposed to be the authority on it. But Ash, being 10 years old, goes into full fanboy mode when he gets to witness an exhibition match between the Garchomp that is housed at the Sycamore facility and its use of Mega Evolution, and a battle with a young trainer who wields a Charmander. Ash thinks his name was Alain, but he wasn't really paying attention. The Mega Garchomp made quick work of him, and that's the reason why Ash is here anyway. So after that battle was over, the boy Alain departs from Professor Sycamore's lab with some sort of promise of becoming the strongest Mega Evolution wielder or something like that. But Ash doesn't really pay attention to it. All he really cares about is getting as much information on this Mega Evolution as possible. Unfortunately, he's going to have to wait for a little while longer, because Sycamore does have some trainers that he needs to see off. He still has 2 more starters that he needs to hand out, the Fire starter and the Grass starter for the Kalos region, as a young trainer had picked up the Water starter early on in the day. After everything's said and done, Ash finally gets his one-on-one with Professor Sycamore, and he gets the chance to sit down and learn that there are many Pokemon that have the ability of Mega Evolution, but not every Pokemon can use Mega Evolution. And furthermore, there are certain items that have to be acquired in order for Mega Evolution to even happen. Then Professor Sycamore shows Ash the Keystone and the Garchompite that he had used in the battle with Alain early on in the day. He tells Ash that these 2 items are what allowed him and Garchomp to achieve Mega Evolution, along with a strong bond of sorts. Well, Ash says he doesn't have any problem with that looking at Pikachu, but Professor Sycamore quickly puts a damper on this when he informs him that Pikachu is one of the species that doesn't really have access to Mega Evolution. Ash sighs with a little bit of disappointment. He wanted to be able to get his buddy some more power, but it looks like he can't do that. Professor Sycamore, however, does tell Ash that there are a lot of Pokemon out there. That young trainer that he was battling earlier, Alain, one day when his Charmander evolves into a Charizard, it'll be over to Mega Evolve. As a matter of fact, all the Kanto starters can Mega Evolve when they're in their final forms, as well as the Hoenn starters. That's why Sawyer's Sceptile had the ability to Mega Evolve. So far, Professor Sycamore does not have a completed list on the types of Mega Evolution that can be achieved. But there is one place that Ash will have to check out if he wants to even have a chance at Mega Evolution. And again, the Tower of Mastery is what comes up. Ash says Sawyer told him about that, and Professor Sycamore confirms that there is somebody there known as the Mega Evolution Guru. They specialize in this thing. His name is Gherkin, and he is the current keeper of the secrets of Mega Evolution. While Sycamore studies the phenomenon, there are still many things that haven't been shared between the keepers of the Mega Evolution and modern technology. So even though he's the authority, he's not really the authority. So he suggests that Ash go seek out this individual because he would be able to help him if Mega Evolution was even possible. Ash thanks Professor Sycamore for his time. So with that, he manages to depart from Lumio City, and he's got a long ways away. Now, he could use Latias to travel there rather quickly, but Ash is enjoying his time away from the Battle Shrine. 2 years stuck in the same spot for a 10-year-old kid, it's kind of draining. He had this life of glamorous adventure and everything, getting to meet new Pokemon, and now he's just kind of been stuck in one place. He missed this life, so he really wants to soak it in. He decides to hit the road by foot. Now, this traveling by foot, while it is going to be long, it's not going to be without fruits, because it's going to be very quickly that Ash is going to get the chance to experience his first catch of the Kalos region. A small little lion cub, Latias. This little one is actually frightened of Ash at first. It appears to be lost, like maybe it may have been separated from its pride, or maybe it may have been abandoned by a trainer. There isn't really any clear backstory here, but what is clear, it's hurt, and it needs some attention. So just like old times, Ash does what he does best. He befriends it, gets it healed up, and then it decides to join his team, bringing his team count to 4. Now, along the ways, Ash actually has a chance to catch a Pokemon that has evaded him over the last couple of journeys that he's been on. And it's actually right outside Geosyn's town. It's a Pokemon that everybody has always wanted to catch. Eevee. They are actually very plentiful in the wild here in the Kalos region, surprising to Ash, because he's never really experienced one in the wild before. They've always been bred in captivity. Very rare in the regions that he's toured before. But that's beside the point. This Eevee has a bit of a diva nature, we're going to say. It very much likes attention, very much likes to show off, and very much likes to be praised for its accomplishments. Kind of the exact opposite of anything else that Ash has ever really had, which is fine, but it's going to take some getting used to. But that's okay though, because Ash, well, it doesn't matter to him. As long as him and the Pokemon get along, and as long as his Pokemon are happy, that's all they really care about. So Ash will eventually make his way to the Tower of Mastery. Now here at the Tower of Mastery, something interesting is going to happen. You see, Gherkin is the current Mega Evolution Guru, and Ash has heard nothing but good things about him. But it's come time for him to pass this to a new person, someone to lead the secrets and the keepers of the Mega Evolution into the future. This candidate is none other than his granddaughter and the gym leader of the Kurmeen City Gym, Karina. So Ash just happens to arrive at the point to when this succession ceremony is happening. What he gets to see is a battle that takes place. A battle that is of pure power. 2 Pokemon that look very familiar to him. 2 Pokemon that he actually owns, but they have Mega Evolutions. Heracross and a Lucario. Ash watches on in complete and total amazement. He can't really say anything. He's entranced by this battle. But the succession battle goes on, and Karina eventually beats her grandfather, proving that she has the strength to defend and guard the secrets of Mega Evolution. So with that over and out of the way, Gherkin releases responsibility to Karina. This is where Ash approaches Gherkin, trying to get information from him. And his response is, hey listen kid, I'm a retired old man now, so you're gonna have to talk to the new girl over there. This brings Ash to Karina's door, where Karina isn't as forthcoming with information as her grandfather was, because it was age and experience versus young and youth. She wants Ash to prove that he could be worthy of just information of Mega Evolution. And the only way to do that is with a battle. Ash, knowing full well the Pokemon that she used, being a Lucario, he has the perfect counter for this. Now, at first, he does have the thought that he wants to use his Lucario, but the fact that she has Mega Evolution, well, it really puts his Lucario to shame. So he's going to opt for something else. His ever-faithful legendary Pokemon, Latias. Now, the 2 are chosen, and right away, things kick off. It seems that Latias and Lucario are, well, fairly even. But Latias does have the Psychic typing on its side, and it uses it to its advantage greatly. This actually forces Karina into Mega Evolution just so she could even the playing field. Even that still isn't enough. Mega Lucario does have great power, but Ash and Latias, they've had time to train. They're a seasoned team, and Ash is also a Frontier Brain. I believe that Ash, being at Frontier Brain level here, would allow him to easily overpower Karina, because it's essentially an Elite Four versus a gym leader at this point. And Karina, even though she's got the fancy title of, Mega Evolution Guru, she's still at the end of the day just a gym leader. So Ash and Latias would eventually get the win. Although, with Mega Evolution involved, there would be a bit of a struggle. But Ash's unorthodox battle style, combined with his bond with Latias, would allow him to take the win. This has unexpected fruit though, because it's here that Ash finds out from Karina that his Latias could actually Mega Evolve. This is something that Ash hadn't expected. A legendary Pokemon, something that is as powerful as Latias already is, can become more powerful. This is exactly what he was looking for. This is where Karina leads Ash to basically the Mega Island, where you can find your Mega Stones. But there is a problem. Ash is still missing the Keystone. He's gonna have to find one. They're even rarer than actual Mega Stones. Ash and Latias head over to the Mega Evolution Island, and they're able to find the Mega Evolution Stone for Latias fairly quickly, within a couple of days. And during this time, it allows Ash to get in some training with Latias and Eevee, allowing them to get more acclimated to the team. Lucario really being the help here, being the big brother, if you will, to the two. This allows Ash to really focus down on things with Latias, allowing them to find the stone. But unfortunately, there's still the problem of the keystone. Karina tells Ash that there are keystones that manage to pop up every now and then on the island, but they're more found inland in Kalos. So his best bet may be actually to hit the road again, to search for a keystone. And once Ash can actually successfully find a keystone, to practice with it, to grow his and Latias's bond, because unless they are in sync, Mega Evolution will not work. So, with the advice of his new teacher, Ash does exactly that. And he decides that he's going to not take the gym challenge, but see what the Kalos gym leaders have to offer. Karina was that powerful. Maybe the rest could be some sort of a challenge. Allow him to further his battle styles, develop new strategies, that type of thing. He's not seeking a badge, just a good battle. So with that, they hit the road. And the first gym that will be the stop for Ash will actually be Grant. Now, while Grant doesn't really wield Mega Evolution, he is an interesting battler. He does have his Draco Meteor style of battling, and that really proves useful when Ash is trying to train Latias, because it's a dragon type move and it's spread out over a large terrain. So this allows Latias to really increase its speed, become more of an aerodynamic machine, if you will. This also allows another one of Ash's Pokemon to get a little bit more battle time, and being Lucario. It has really taken a back seat on trying to raise the kids as of late, so it was good for it. Not that it's having a problem with Latias getting all the attention, it just wants a chance to, fight because it's a fighting type. But with all that, they move on to the next gym, and this is where Ash decides that he's going to head and meet with Viola, the bug type gym leader. It's here that Ash actually gets the chance to use his Latias, and even though Viola is very powerful in her own right, she really can't stand up to a fire type, especially when Ash pulls an Ash moment and his Latias evolves in the middle of battle into a Pyroar and really just incinerates her Vivillon. So, poor little butterfly. Better luck next time. Ash is having the time of his life, but he's really got to admit that the last two gym leaders have really not been on the level of Karina, and he's kind of disappointed. But he remains faithful and continues his journey, returning to Lumio City, stopping by to say hi to the professor, and finding out that there's actually a gym in Lumio City. Now, normally you don't battle this gym until you have 5 badges, but Ash isn't really taking the gym challenge here, he's just looking for a good battle. So Professor Sycamore says he doesn't really think that would be a problem. Ash, thanking him for the information, takes off and heads to the gym. This is where he meets a robot that's in charge of the gym, who goes by the name of Clembot. Ash really doesn't know what to make of this, but either way, he still challenges it to a battle. Now, Clembot has put in this rule to where, it has to have 5 gym badges. That's what Professor Sycamore was talking about. But once Ash declares who he is and reveals his identity and, his credentials, Clembot kind of just folds, because even though it's a robot, it likes the challenge of a battle. So it wants a chance to face a Frontier Brain, one of the strongest Frontier Brains at this point. They go in and have a battle, but once again, Ash is just left disappointed. This robot really couldn't do anything, and the Luxray that it was left with really couldn't fight back. Latias and Lucario really made quick work of their teams. But anyway, the show must go on. So it's at this point that Ash has, a choice to make. There's really a couple of roads out of Lumio City that he could take, and all of them lead in a different direction. All of them lead to really different gyms. But it's here he's going to be heading towards the grass-type gym leader, Ramos. While Ramos is old and wise, he's not really a threat. And sorry to say, but Hyrule and Latias really make quick work of his gym, leaving Ash a little bit more disappointed and a little bit more losing faith that he's going to find that challenge he was looking for. But with all that being said, Ash has to move on to the next gym. He's really hoping that this one doesn't disappoint, because it's looking like that's all it's going to be for him on the rest of the journey here. Luckily for him, this is where he gets to meet the first ever fairy type gym leader, Valerie. And this is where he learns that the fairy type is actually a typing. Valerie proves to be a rather powerful trainer as well. Her strategies with things like Trick Room and things like that set Ash a little off balance. And when he's backed into a corner, he chooses to use Latias. This is where he finds out that the dragon typing is really weak against the fairy typing. Weak to the point to where fairies aren't affected by their moves at all. 0 damage. And the only thing that Ash could really do was use the Luster Purge to at least cause some damage. And I'm going to say that Valerie actually hands Ash his first loss here in the Kalos region, which was surprising to the young trainer. He was beginning to think that he wouldn't find any type of challenge. And this girl didn't even have Mega Evolution. Now, granted, it was her typing that threw Ash off, but that's what he was here for. To learn new things, new battle styles, getting to know new Pokemon. And this also has a side effect, because Valerie revealed a new evolution of a very specific Pokemon to him. A very diva-like Pokemon to him. In Sylvia, the fairy type evolution of the Pokemon he caught, Eevee. And during their battle, his Eevee had the chance to view a Sylveon up close and personal. It kind of just fell in love with how Sylveon is portrayed, its beauty and its majesty in battle. This turns Eevee's sole goal in life to become a Sylveon. So Ash, always wanted to make sure that his Pokemon are taken care of, inquires with Valerie about how his Eevee could evolve. Valerie goes through the steps with him. She actually shows him exactly what she did with her Eevee to get it evolved into a Sylveon. And Ash, after spending some time training with Valerie, getting to know Eevee a little bit more, and the two really connecting on a spiritual level, I would say, he triggers the evolution of Eevee into Sylveon, which is the happiest day in this young Sylveon's life. But with all that being said, Ash can't really stick around here, and he's gotten the chance to train his Pokemon up, and he's gotten the chance to battle a gym leader that wasn't just fluff. So he decides to head out, because he still has a couple more stops on his Kalos World Tour. The next gym leader is the psychic type, Olympia. Now, Olympia, well, she's a bit of an oddity. She can see the future. She keeps talking about this great calamity, something that's going to happen, and she makes nods that Ash is supposed to be involved, but things just aren't right. There's a Pokemon that he has that he shouldn't have, and she doesn't understand why. This throws Olympia all off. It's kind of messed with her psychic mojo and made her question her abilities a little bit. Ash is able to convince her to have a battle with him, but this is where he reveals that he possesses Latias. And it's at this point that Olympia starts to question everything she knows, because she can read this Latias's mind. She can connect with it. And Olympia, being the psychic that she is, knows that something's not right here. But she can't put her finger on it. This boy, he's supposed to not be this. A frontier brain is not what he's supposed to be, but why is he? Either way, Ash eventually wins their battle because of Latias and Lucario teaming up to take down her 2 Meowstics. This leaves just one trainer left in the entire Kalos region for Ash to really win a battle. The 8th and final gym leader, but he still hasn't gotten a keystone. He's searched high and low, left and right, up and down, valleys and rivers and mountains. Traveled to every part of the Kalos region, but nothing. Until he just so happens to get outside Snowbell City. And at the foot of a tree in the snow, Ash notices a glimmering. After going over to inspect it, he knows exactly what it is. A keystone. Super excited, Ash immediately releases Latias from its ball. It's at this point that he proclaims that they've done it. they've achieved their goal. They've gotten stronger. Holding up both the Keystone and the Latiasite that they had found on the Mega Evolution Island, Ash declares that they will be unbeatable. He gives Latias its stone, and then he tries to activate his own. While they do have some bit of a transformation, it's only really temporary. We're talking like 5 seconds. And it's at this point that Ash remembers something that was told to Karina. They need to train with. So, as much as Ash wants to get this new transformation and use it right now, they're going to have to train. This kind of puts things on hold from Ash going inside of Snowbell City right now, because he spends his time between the Pokemon Center and training in the local forest. This is where Ash is going to catch the final Pokemon of the Kalos region. You see, the woods outside of Snowbell City run wild with, well, wild Pokemon. And there's one in particular, a tree, a guardian of the forest that really sticks around to make sure people don't enter its territory. Trevenant, and they're usually very aggressive. Ash, unfortunately, being Ash, ends up in one of these Trevenant's areas during one of his trainings with Latias. He manages to use Latias to battle it, and they are able to activate Mega Evolution and actually hold it. This was the first time that it happened, and it was because of the intensity of the battle. This is what gives Ash the edge to allow Latias to knock out Trevenant and allow him to capture it, bringing his total team to 6 again, and giving Ash some Pokemon that he will be able to take back to his frontier brain lifestyle. But anyway, now that Ash has his team of 6 and they managed to get Mega Evolution, Ash moves on to the Snowbell Gym, where he meets a burly old fellow, Wulfric. Wulfric specializes in ice typing. Now, unlike the fairy type, Ash is all too familiar with the ice typing. It's what cost him his loss at the Hoenn region. And Glacia, he's still a little bit sore about that battle. But anyway, it's here that Ash goes in the battle. Now his lineup is going to be a 3-on-3. Ash chooses to go with Latias, Pikachu, and Pyro. Now, the lineup itself isn't too unexpected. 1 advantage, 2 super powerhouses in his oldest Pokemon. While Pyro manages to put in some decent work, it still ends up getting taken out by Anvilug after beating the Bergmite. And then Pikachu manages to put in some work against Anvilug, tying with it. It's at that point to where Abomasnow comes in, and Abomasnow really just kind of wrecks Latias. Even though Ash has Mega Evolution, he still hasn't mastered it. So, it's at this point that Ash decides that he needs a little bit more time. So he decides to make the trek all the way back to the Tower of Mastery. He wants to spend a little bit of time trying to master his new craft in the place of mastery, if you will. It's here that he is finally able to get the attention of Gherkin. Now, even though Karina is the Mega Evolution guru at this point, Gherkin still has years of knowledge. And after Ash demonstrating what his Latias is capable of, and the fact that he was able to get as far as he had on his own, Gherkin kind of takes a shine to him and takes him under his wing, showing Ash a little bit tips and tricks, trying to get him to know the ins and outs. Now, while this doesn't immediately bear fruit, it does make progress, slowly but surely, allowing Ash and Latias to eventually master their transformation. And this brings us full circle back to Wulfric, where Ash is able to win this time, allowing him to officially declare that he has mastered Mega Evolution. But there's a couple of things we have to address here first. First thing being all of you guys screaming in the comment section, what happened to Froakie? Well, my dear listeners, I specifically set this at the point in time where Froakie had already been chosen by the trainer it had turned down before Ash had got it. So Ash had just barely missed his young frog and wasn't going to get it in this timeline. And then there's the last thing of that trainer that had battled Professor Sycamore and Mega Garchomp, the one who declared that it was going to become the strongest. It just so happens to show up after Ash has his chance to challenge Wulfric, Alain and his Charizard, or should I say Mega Charizard X. While Alain makes quick work of Wulfric with his Mega Charizard X, demonstrating his mastery, he's going to have his hands full with Ash. And it's at this point, Ash wants the chance to challenge this young trainer. He wants the chance to prove who is the stronger of the Mega Evolutions. Not a 6-on-6, not a 3-on-3, just a 1-on-1. His Latias versus Alain's Charizard. Alain, being the person that he is always open to a challenge, especially if it has Mega Evolution involved. And when Ash declares that he has mastered Mega Evolution, Alain gladly accepts. What we see here is a knockdown, drag-out fight between two dragon types, Mega Latias versus Mega Charizard X. While Alain proves to be a very capable trainer, unfortunately for him, Ash and Latias' bond far exceeds what he and Charizard have developed. The two have just been together for too long. There's not really any reason why Ash would lose to Alain here. But what it does is it shows Alain humility and allows him to reassess things, allows him to want to continue his journey to become strong. So at that point, the two part ways, with Alain having full knowledge of Ash and him being a frontier brain for the Johto region. Ash eventually returns to the battle shrine, now reinvigorated with his responsibilities as a frontier brain, ready to take on new challengers as he's developed a new level of power. While Alain would go on to compete in the Kalos League and eventually go on to win it. A lot easier than in canon because, well, Ash wasn't there. After he ends up losing to DIDNT, he decides that he's feeling a little antsy and would like to try his hand at a frontier, a battle frontier. And that's where we're going to leave this part. That's all we have. How did you guys enjoy this What If miniature series that I've done? Kind of a speed run of a particular journey. Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, I appreciate you guys watching this. And if you guys are watching this on Patreon, I appreciate your guys' donations and allowing me to continue to bring you content like this. I will be including whichever part that didn't make it to YouTube in the full story for this series. So if you're curious to how the other side turned out, look out for that because it'll be coming in the future. But with all that being said, let me know what you guys thought about this in the comments down below. And it's time to sign out the video the best way we know how, by thanking the sponsors, the patrons. Silverheart Soul, Robert, Vegito Gaming 78, Andrew McCartney, Holisif, Julian Rodriguez, Ruben Watson, Lord Explosion Murder, Assassin 139, Flyer 943, Shadow Dragon, Tavern Landlord, K McKnight, Kevin Atron, Drax, Adrian Carr, Dino King, Dalen Silva, Fox King, Warney Taylor, Plus Ultraman, Mega Mike Logan, Team Valor, Kendall Green, Earth Dragon, Josh, John Larson, Josh Van Meplin, Forbidden Super, Dylan Nicholson, Gerald Smith, and Normandy 1998. Thank you all very much, and I will see you in the next video.